Here is an EOA Live Grande story.
We at the Grande Symphony are very excited to be presenting our winter concert program, and we're calling it Sounds of America. So we're going to feature 3 American composers, 2 of which are now historical figures from the 20th century, and an exciting new commission from a contemporary living composer from right here in the Grande. So we're very excited about it. First on the program, we will open up with a piece by Aaron Copland, famous, very well-known American composer. And this piece he wrote in 1938 is called An Outdoor Overture. Next on the program, following the Copland, will be our brand new piece. It's called the Irish Folk Song Suite No. 1, composed by John Reinhardt. So this piece is a lot of fun. It's bright, it moves along, it's entertaining, and it's comprised of 5 traditional Irish folk tunes. And so the way Mr. Reinhardt puts them all together, he lets each tune sort of flow into the next without any break or pause.
I'm John Reinhardt, and I am a professor at Eastern Oregon University, and I teach biology. I have always been torn between science and music. I played instruments from a very young age. This was my first commission 2 or 3 years ago when the outgoing director, I showed him my 2nd symphony, and he decided that he wanted to go ahead and play that. And so I rescored it for small orchestra, and they played it at a concert, and apparently people really liked it because that's where the commission came from. So last year I was commissioned to write a composition. I had been thinking for a very long time about writing an Irish folk song suite. The reason for that is because, well, partly because when I was growing up in grade school, I had a very good friend who was of Irish descendancy, and his dad was very strong into the culture of Ireland, and so he taught his kids a lot of Irish music and Irish folk songs, and he taught those to me. And so they've been, bouncing around in my head for years and years now, and I finally decided that I was going to put them down on paper and put my own spin on them, and this commission was a perfect opportunity to do that.
The masterwork that we'll feature on this concert program is Symphony No. 1 in E minor by Florence Beatrice Price. The melody, the pitch content, is based on what we call a pentatonic scale. Now, to elaborate on that a little bit, the pentatonic scale, pent meaning 5, is based on 5 notes, this scale. So a lot of folk music from around the world, no matter where you look, a lot of folk music is based on a pentatonic scale. So, when you hear this music, you might think, you know what, this sounds like American folk music. And to me, that's what makes it universal, the fact that we have this wonderful, wonderful music where the primary themes are based on folk content, what we associate with folk content. In the first movement, the primary theme, you hear the bassoon open with the primary theme, and it's in a pentatonic scale. It's a dark color and a warmth to it, especially coming from the bassoon, and it just totally sets the stage for the rest of the orchestra to come in. So when the second theme comes in, you hear an African-American spiritual. It's unmistakable, and you hear it in the French horn. It's got this very warm, smooth tone, and it sounds like a voice is singing this theme, and it's absolutely beautiful. So one of Florence Price's very unique signatures is her third movement, the Juba Dance. And she uses that title of Juba Dance in many of her 4 symphonies. I can't verify whether it's all 4, but most of them. So the Juba Dance is traditional in the sense of African American, the era of slavery, where slaves would participate in this Juba Dance. Based on some of my research, you're living in this incredibly difficult existence, in this incredibly difficult situation. And African Americans at that time, maybe the only respite they had from this trying, difficult time was a time to gather together and dance. And so it's really remarkable that here we have in the classical concert hall something so folkloric and something so real, something very tangible like this Juba Dance. The fourth movement is a hard driving tune in 6/8 time, and it is a flourish of these scalar runs up and down, passed around in the symphony, and it just propels the orchestra to a brilliant finale. So what's really special too about Florence Price is not only just her ability to compose wonderful music, but the context in which this music came from. She grew up, like I mentioned, in the beginning of the 20th century, and one can only imagine how difficult it was to live in the South, to grow up in the South as an African American during the era of Jim Crow. She overcame many odds in order to reach this stature in classical music. I would encourage our audience members to come out and enjoy themselves and get to experience some pieces that they probably haven't heard before. It's a little bit of a risky thing to program music that's rather unknown, but this is music that we in the orchestra strongly believe in and we have a lot of fun with. And that's the joy that we're really looking forward to bring to the audience is a new, refreshing experience, and to share some refreshing, unheard stories through the medium of the symphonic orchestra.